He caught me watching K-drama kisses, then said, "Want me to show you how it's really done?" There are moments that feel so private, so sacred, they're not meant to be interrupted. For me, those moments happen around midnight, when the world is quiet and my heart is entirely open to the universe of Korean dramas. That night, I was curled up on the couch in my favorite oversized hoodie, the soft glow of my laptop screen lighting up my face. The living room was dark, save for a candle flickering on the coffee table, and the scent of vanilla hung in the air. I was fully immersed in Love in the Moonlight, my latest obsession, watching the Crown Prince finally lean in toward the girl who had spent the whole series disguised as a boy. My heart was doing tiny flips in anticipation. I held my breath, and then it happened. That kiss, tender, lingering, slow enough to make the whole world stop. I actually sighed. That's when I heard it, his voice. "Enjoying the show, Liv?" I jumped so violently I almost flung my laptop to the floor. "Sebastian!" I shrieked, clutching my chest. "What the hell?" He stood in the doorway to my living room like he owned the place. Arms folded, leaning against the frame with that damn smirk. The one that said, he knew things. Things like how embarrassingly single I was, how deeply I swooned over fictional kisses, how I had just been caught in the act. His dark hair looked tousled, like he just rolled out of bed, or maybe just ran a hand through it on his way up. He wore a plain black t-shirt that fit way too well for my peace of mind, and those familiar jeans that always seemed to hang just right on his lean frame. His blue eyes sparkled, mischievous and all too aware of the effect he had on people. "I brought your mail," he said casually, waving a crumpled envelope in his hand. "Landed in my box again." "Are you serious?" I muttered, standing up and smoothing my hoodie as if it would help me regain some dignity. "Why does this keep happening?" Sebastian walked in, completely at ease in my space. He tossed the mail onto my coffee table, only half glancing at the paused scene on my laptop. "Maybe the universe is trying to tell you something." "Yeah?" I scoffed, sitting back down and pulling a throw pillow into my lap. "Like what? That I'm doomed to romantic misery and bad postage?" "No." He turned to face me fully, that grin growing wider, that you should probably stop relying on your screen for all your romantic thrills. I narrowed my eyes. "Excuse me?" Sebastian dropped down next to me on the couch, close, too close, and casually draped one arm along the back, barely brushing my shoulders. He smelled good, like cedar and citrus, and I hated that my heart immediately started to betray me. "I just mean," he continued, leaning in slightly, "all that slow-mo longing and soft music. It's cute, but..." His voice dropped, lazy and low. "Don't you want something real?" I laughed nervously, clutching the pillow tighter. This from the guy who thinks commitment is a four-letter word. He raised an eyebrow. "And yet here I am, delivering your mail like the world's most loyal postman." "That doesn't count," I said quickly, trying not to look directly at his lips, failing miserably. He chuckled, tilting his head. "So what's the appeal of those kisses anyway? The waiting, the barely there touch, the fact that they look like they might cry from just kissing someone?" I rolled my eyes. "It's romantic, Sebastian. It's about tension, the build-up. It's not just about the kiss, it's everything before it." "Ah." He looked thoughtful for a second, then smiled that lazy, confident smile that made my stomach do dangerous things. "So, you like tension?" I blinked. "I didn't say that, but you meant it." His voice had that teasing lilt that made me want to swat him and kiss him all at once. "So maybe I should ask?" "Don't. If you want me to show you how it's really done?" I stared at him, stunned. He wasn't joking. His eyes had lost their usual playfulness. There was something heavier now, serious, like a hidden thought that had finally slipped past his lips. My throat went dry. "You're not serious." He shrugged, but his gaze didn't waver. "I could be." A beat passed between us. The air in the room shifted. My skin felt too tight, my breath shallow. I wanted to say something witty. I wanted to laugh it off, but I didn't. Instead, I whispered, "Okay." He blinked. For the first time, he looked surprised. But just for a second, then his expression softened. His hand reached up slowly, cupping the side of my face like I was something delicate. His thumb brushed the edge of my jaw, trailing up to my cheekbone. And just like that, the moment stopped being hypothetical. Sebastian leaned in, not with the cocky confidence he usually carried, but with quiet certainty. No rush, no games, just closeness. The space between us disappeared, and then his lips touched mine. It wasn't a dramatic K-drama kiss. It wasn't soft focus or backed by an orchestra. It was real, warm, steady. His lips moved gently against mine, exploring, savoring. There was no script, no camera angle, just him and me, and the thunderous beat of my own heart. His other hand found my waist, pulling me in. I let the pillow slide to the floor. My fingers slipped into his hair, tugging gently. The kiss deepened, and my whole body lit up like someone had flicked a switch inside me. My mind went blissfully blank. When we finally pulled apart, breathless, he didn't move far. His forehead rested against mine. His eyes were still closed, his breath warm on my lips. I was trembling. "You okay?" he asked, voice husky. I nodded, eyes fluttering open. Yeah, that was." He smiled softly. "Better than slow-mo longing?" I laughed, a nervous, giddy sound that bubbled up uncontrollably. "So much better." He chuckled and pressed another soft kiss to the corner of my mouth. "Good, I've been wanting to do that since the day you moved in." My eyes widened. Seriously, he tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. "The way you kept dropping your groceries and pretending you didn't need help? Pretty adorable." I groaned. "So you were laughing at me that day?" "No," he said, pulling me gently onto his lap. "I was falling for you. Big difference." My heart stuttered again. I buried my face in his shoulder, overwhelmed and utterly intoxicated by everything he was, his scent, his warmth, his honesty. Maybe I didn't need perfectly framed scenes or poetic dialogue. Maybe real-life romance wasn't about grand gestures or slow-motion kisses. Maybe, just maybe, it was about a guy showing up with your mail, teasing you into a blush, and finally kissing you like he'd been waiting forever to do it. And honestly, that was so much better than any K-drama. The next morning, I woke up still wearing Sebastian's hoodie, not because we'd done that, not yet, but because after that kiss, after our bodies finally separated, we ended up curled on the couch in a tangle of quiet laughter and whispered truths until sleep crept in and wrapped us both in a haze of warmth. He let me keep the hoodie when he left at 2 a.m., murmuring something like, "So you don't forget how this feels." But that was impossible. There was no way I could forget him. I stared at my ceiling for a long time, tracing every heartbeat and every memory from the night before. That kiss wasn't just a kiss. It was a door we'd both stepped through, slowly, unsure, a little terrified. And now, I didn't know where we stood. So when he texted me the next morning, "Coffee? Your place, 15 minutes, no pants required," I responded with, "Me? You just want your hoodie back. That and maybe your lips." My fingers trembled a little as I typed, "Doors unlocked." He came in holding 2 coffees, both with names horribly misspelled, which made me laugh. The ease between us felt fragile, like a soap bubble floating in sunlight, beautiful but breakable. And maybe that's why I didn't push. I didn't ask, "What are we?" or "What does this mean?" Instead, we sat on the floor of my kitchen, backs against the cabinets, bare feet touching under the table. He watched me while I sipped, his eyes trailing down to the curve of my neck, my lips, then quickly back up. "You look different this morning," he murmured. "Different how?" "Like you know I've kissed you." His voice was quiet, rough-edged. My stomach flipped. I didn't know how to answer that, so I didn't. I just leaned over and kissed him again. Days blurred into nights. We started orbiting each other differently. Sebastian began showing up more often, bringing dinner, stealing snacks from my pantry, watching K-dramas beside me, just to make sarcastic commentary, and then steal kisses during the romantic scenes. We weren't dating exactly, but we weren't not something. He was honest, though, painfully honest. "I'm not good at this relationship stuff," he said one night, lying beside me on my bed, our shoulders touching but nothing else. "I've screwed it up before. I'm scared I'll screw you up too." I looked at him, heart lodged in my throat. "I'm not asking you to promise forever, Seb. Just be here now, with me." His gaze softened. "I can do now." And he did. Friends, then friends who kissed, then friends who couldn't stop touching each other. It happened one rainy night. The storm rattled the windows while we sat huddled under a shared blanket, watching some indie film we weren't really paying attention to. I was leaning against him, his arm around me, my fingers absently playing with the hem of his t-shirt. Every few seconds, he'd glance down at me, his breath hitching just a little each time I touched his skin. I tilted my head up. Sebastian? His eyes met mine instantly, heat simmering behind them. I think you should kiss me again. His answer came without hesitation. His lips crashed into mine, raw and hungry. But this time, it didn't stop there. The scene that changed everything. We barely made it to the bedroom. Clothes were half removed, half forgotten, in a trail from the hallway. His hands were everywhere, on my hips, my waist, my back, like he was trying to memorize all the places I trembled. When he laid me down, he paused. "You okay?" he asked, voice low, almost reverent. I nodded, breathless. "I want you." Those words snapped something in him. He kissed me deeply, slowly at first, then with a hunger that made my head spin. His mouth traveled from my lips to my neck, to my collarbone, to the hollow between my breasts. His hands were confident but gentle, like he'd spent years dreaming of this moment but still wanted to savor every second. He made love like someone who knew how dangerous closeness could be, but craved it anyway. Every thrust, every touch, every gasp was laced with something unspoken. A yearning, a fear, a craving for intimacy he wasn't sure he deserved, but couldn't stop reaching for. He whispered things into my skin. "You feel like heaven. God, the way you look at me? Tell me this is real." And when I came undone beneath him, crying out his name with my nails digging into his shoulders, I felt something crack open inside both of us. He collapsed beside me, pulling me into his arms, his skin slick with sweat and his breathing ragged. For a long moment, neither of us said anything. Just hearts beating against each other, tangled limbs and tangled feelings. Then he spoke. "I didn't think I could do this," he whispered. "But with you, I want to try." I didn't say anything. I just reached for his hand under the blanket and held it tight. Because I knew what he meant. It wasn't just about sex. It was about trust, the kind that grows between stolen glances and whispered kisses, late-night confessions, and vulnerable mornings after. It was messy, complicated, not the stuff of scripted romances, but it was ours. And that made it everything. We said no feelings, but we never defined it. There was no dramatic, candlelit confession, no labels, just heat and stolen breath and God, don't stop touching me. Somewhere along the way, Sebastian started sleeping over more often. Sometimes we didn't even have sex. We just lay there, wrapped around each other like the world outside didn't exist. He still said things like, "I'm not boyfriend material." And I still nodded like, "That's totally fine." Except it wasn't. Because I started falling. Not in that fireworks and violins kind of way, but quietly. The way rain starts to fall before you notice the clouds. I caught myself watching him sleep. Watching the way he laughed with his whole body when he found something really funny. The way he always kept my favorite snacks stocked in his apartment now. The way he called me Liv in a tone so soft, it felt like a kiss all by itself. I was in deep, and he didn't know, or maybe he did, and just didn't want to say it out loud. The night jealousy ruined everything. It started innocently enough. I had dinner plans with an old friend, Ryan. We'd gone to college together. And yes, okay, there had been a tiny thing back then, but it never turned into anything. I didn't think I owed Sebastian an explanation. We weren't dating, right? But when I got home later that night, Sebastian was already in my apartment. He was sitting on my couch, hair damp like he just showered, his jaw tight. "Hey," I said, surprised. "Didn't know you were coming over." He shrugged. "Door was unlocked." Something in his voice made me pause. I walked in slowly, setting my purse down. "Is everything okay?" He looked up, eyes hard but unreadable. "Who's Ryan?" I blinked. "Ryan? The guy you were having wine with. You posted a story. You never post stories." Oh, I swallowed. "He's just a friend. We go way back." His lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Didn't look like just a friend." I crossed my arms. "Why does it matter? We said this wasn't serious." Silence, his jaw clenched. "Right." I hated the way that word sounded coming from him. Right? Like he was trying to convince himself. "So you can do what you want," I continued, voice softer now, "and I can do the same. That's what we agreed, remember?" But when I said it, it didn't feel like something I meant. It felt like something I said to protect myself. Sebastian stood up, pacing now. "Yeah, well, maybe that was a mistake." My heart caught. "What do you mean?" He stopped in front of me, close enough that I could feel the tension radiating off him like heat. "I mean, I didn't think I'd care, but I do, and that pisses me off." I stared at him, my chest tightening. Why does it piss you off? Because this was supposed to be easy, he snapped. Fun, no strings, but now I can't stop thinking about you, and I hate that it scares the hell out of me. I said nothing. I couldn't. My throat felt too full. He raked a hand through his hair. I'm not good at this, Liv. I've had people walk away. People I loved. I thought if I didn't let anyone in again, I'd be safe. And are you? I asked softly. His eyes met mine, suddenly filled with a kind of broken honesty. No, because you're already in. And I don't know how to do this without falling apart. The scene where they break, then heal. He kissed me like he needed to erase every word we'd said. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate. His mouth on mine, his hands in my hair, his body pressed flush against me, like he was trying to drown out the fear with touch. I clung to him like I was afraid if I let go, we'd shatter. We stumbled into my bedroom, shedding clothes like regrets. There was no teasing tonight, no slow seduction. This was raw, honest, unfiltered want. He pushed me onto the bed, hovering over me, his breath shaky. Tell me to stop, he whispered, eyes searching mine. I cupped his cheek. I don't want you to. And then he was inside me, filling me with more than just his body. His truth, his ache, his need. We moved together like we were trying to rewrite everything. Each stroke was a confession, each moan a plea. Every time he whispered my name, it sounded like I love you, even though neither of us was brave enough to say it yet. His forehead pressed against mine as we rode the edge together, his voice breaking as he whispered, I can't lose you. You're not going to, I whispered back, wrapping my arms tighter around him. I'm right here. We came undone together, clinging to each other like it was the only thing keeping us from falling apart. After, he stayed that night, and the next. We never called it boyfriend and girlfriend. Not yet. That still scared him. But he stopped sleeping with anyone else. He stopped pretending he didn't care. He started bringing me flowers just because. He started texting, home soon, and I always knew what home meant. Sometimes love doesn't come in a grand declaration. Sometimes it comes in quiet nights, jealous glances, broken edges, and whispered truths under moonlight. We didn't start as a love story, but maybe we were becoming one anyway. We never picked a moment. There was no countdown, no big are we ready conversation, just little shifts. He started calling this our bed. He used my toothbrush. I had his favorite cereal in my pantry without him ever asking. He'd kiss my shoulder in the morning before saying, I've got to run. He'd pull me into his lap when he worked from home, like my body calmed something in him. But still, no labels. It wasn't fear anymore. It was waiting. Like we both knew something huge was coming. Like the feelings had grown so thick between us, they needed space to fall from our mouths the right way. And then it happened. The moment we stopped waiting. It was a Tuesday. Rainy, quiet, ordinary. I was folding laundry. He was in bed, shirtless, half under the sheets, scrolling through my laptop with that squint he always did when pretending to work, but clearly watching some Netflix trailer on mute. I tossed a pair of his boxers at his chest. Can you at least pretend to be helpful? He caught them mid-air, smirking. I'm providing emotional support. By lying naked in my bed? Half naked, huge difference. I rolled my eyes and walked over to the foot of the bed, stacking socks. He watched me, really watched me, and then his voice dropped. Come here. I looked up, caught off guard by the change in tone. What? Just come here, Liv. There was something in his voice that made my stomach flip, like we were both standing on the edge of something. I walked to the side of the bed, still holding a towel. What is it? Sebastian reached for my hand and gently pulled me into his lap. My legs straddled him without even thinking, the towel falling somewhere behind me. His hands slid around my waist like they were made to live there. My heart started doing that traitorous pounding thing it always did around him. He looked up at me, his eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. I love you. I froze. He didn't smile. He didn't try to smooth it out with a joke. He just sat there, heart completely open, eyes searching mine like he was afraid of what I'd say. I didn't want to, he continued quietly. I fought it. I tried to pretend this was just sex, just comfort. But every time I leave, it feels like I've forgotten something vital. Every time I'm with you, I feel like myself. Like I can breathe again. So yeah, I love you, Olivia. The world went still. I pressed my forehead to his. eyes brimming with something hot and sharp and sweet. "I love you too," I whispered. "So much it scares me." He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for weeks. "Say it again." I kissed his jaw. "I love you." His cheek. "I love you." Then his lips. "I love you." The final scene, where everything comes together. The kiss turned slow, needy. It wasn't rushed this time. There was nothing left to hide. His hand slid under my shirt, pushing it up over my head like it offended him. He kissed every inch of skin he uncovered. My collarbone, my sternum, the curve of my stomach. His mouth was reverent. His touch, worshipful. He laid me down gently, crawling over me like I was something precious. His fingers traced the sides of my face, my lips, my throat. He wasn't just touching my body, he was telling it a story. "You're safe, you're mine, you're loved. I want to make love to you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You already are," I whispered. Clothes vanished in a blur of tangled limbs and whispered, "I love yous." And then he was inside me, slow, deep, real. We moved together like a song we already knew by heart. Every stroke felt like a promise. Every kiss was a homecoming. I clutched him closer, my nails digging into his back as he moved inside me, like he was trying to memorize the shape of my soul. His name left my lips over and over again, like a prayer, like a sigh, like a secret I no longer had to hide. "I've never felt like this before," he groaned against my neck, voice cracking. "You ruined me, Liv, and I want to stay ruined." Tears stung my eyes as my legs wrapped tighter around his hips. "Don't stop. Please." "I won't. Not ever." When we came, it wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was quiet, intimate. Like something ancient breaking open inside both of us, something we'd both buried too deep for too long. He collapsed beside me, breathless, pulling me into his chest like I was his oxygen. We laid there, skin against skin, heartbeats still echoing the rhythm we'd just shared. And then he whispered, lips against my hair, "So, girlfriend?" I laughed, smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. "Took you long enough." The end, but also the beginning. It wasn't perfect. We still bickered over whose turn it was to do dishes. He still teased my K-dramas. I still stole his hoodies and denied it. But now, when he kissed me goodnight, he didn't leave. Now, when he looked at me, he didn't hold anything back. We were us. And we said it out loud. Every day. Every night. In every way that mattered.